Do you ever have a creative block where you just can't come up with a layout or you just don't feel very creative, but you want to get in the craft room? Well, when that happens to me, first of all, take a walk, get out in nature. But second of all, turn to a sketch. Go to Pinterest, go to Facebook groups, go get inspiration from other people. It's okay to look at something you like and make it your own. It's okay to find inspiration in other places. Another place I like to look is my Make It From Your Heart volumes. So I have 2 volumes in here. I have 5, and I think the other one's volume 3. Yeah, volume 3 and volume 5. You've been seeing that I've been working through volume 6 with some creative friends. So I'm not going to reach for that one since I've used a lot of those more recently, and I'm going to dive into my stash and pull out volume 5 and volume 3. And I know what pictures I want to scrapbook. I know what paper I want to use. So I'm just going to flip through these and just get some inspiration. Oh, I love that already. The weaving of the papers, that's really fun. So I know I have a lot of pictures. So like this layout only calls for 1. Obviously I can stretch that into a double page and I can use like collages instead. So that is an idea, but the pattern paper that I'm going to be using is a little more busy. So I don't know that I want to use this one for it. So I might actually skip back to where they call for more photos. Over on the side here, I'm looking, this one calls for 3 photos. I could obviously add more and change it up. This one's really fun with all the paper strips. So I'm just going to flip through this. That has a lot of paper layering. I love that. I did something very similar with this sketch a while back for my husband's birthday. So I'm going to flip through this and see which one I think will work best with my photos, and I'll be back to show you which sketch I choose. Okay, so this is volume 3, and I've decided I'm going to do something like this layout here. I may add either strips of paper above or below, or maybe do a frame style and add another layer behind. I may also make this square, this red one, bigger, so I can fit more photos on that. And then I could even make it a little bit longer this way too. So I think I'm going to tweak this one, but this is going to be my jumping off point. The papers I want to use is the Country Woods from Stampin' Up. So this has so many different, here's the name of it if you want to look it up by number or anything. But it's the Country Woods 12 by 12 designer series paper. And this is on sale. If this is still in stock, it's 15% off this month. So be sure to check out the other designer series papers that are on sale as well. My website's linked below. So make sure to get in on those paper sales when you can. So I've cut my papers down. They said to cut this one at 8 by 6 1/4, but I actually cut it 8 by 8. So giving myself a little more room for more photos. And then these I did keep true. This was 6 by 4. And then I just cut an extra strip from this pink sheet, and I cut that at 1 inch by 12. And I'm thinking either up at top or maybe at the bottom. Not quite sure where I want that, but that's just an extra piece that I wanted for myself. And then I almost like it at the top better. I feel like the top is a little too empty without it. I realize that it kind of gives it a base at the bottom, but I kind of like that. And then it does call for some more strips under this one. So I may add that too. And I don't know if I want even more wood grain. I have a lot of wood grain going on. So let's see what else I have in my stash that might look nice under this pattern paper. I cut this green pine paper that's patterned out of Close to My Heart's Change of Scenery. That's an older collection, but have it in my stash. And then I just cut a few strips of peach cardstock, which matches the petal pink pretty closely. So that'll be my transition piece, and I don't think I want it this large, so I'll probably just overlap it a little bit here and have that be my transition piece. And then this could kind of go down there more. So then I put my heavier color towards the bottom of my page. and it kind of stops your eye. And then I'm thinking I could bring that pine in with my embellishments, my title. I like the greens with the natural wood. So that's my idea. I am going to ink around these edges, so I'm going to grab some toffee ink. At this point, I have not printed my photos yet. I have picked out my photos, and then I just knew that the wood grain would go perfectly with it. My photos are from a time we were out with friends. We went to this homestead that does wood fire pizzas. It was really cool. It was basically in their backyard, and they have all their farm animals out there so the kids can interact with the animals, and the pizza was really good, and it's just a really cool environment there. So I knew I wanted to document that, but I didn't know how many photos I wanted to print or what path I was going to take. So I decided let's start with the base first, knowing that I have plenty of photos because it's me and I always take too many photos. So thought I'd start with the base first, and then depending on how many photos I can fit on this layout, that's how many I'll print. So that's why you're not seeing my photos yet. I have not chosen which ones I want to print yet. These I think I might go around with mocha, a little more defining. I did not go off the measurements exactly with these. This one I did. This one I did 1¼ inch wide by 8. And then obviously it's going to come down further because I did this in 8 by 8 rather than 8 by 6¼ I think it called for. Yeah. And then I did a thinner strip of the peach color than what it called for. And then this, they kind of have it centered between all of it. And I do like that kind of peeking out from both sides there. So I think I might do this maybe at 8 3/4. I kind of like it there. And I'm just eyeballing just what I like. So I think I like it right at 8 3/4 up. So I'm customizing this as I go. I'm taking the original sketch and I'm just kind of making it my own, and you know, I don't like that. Let's do it this way instead, or I think this will fit my pictures better. So since I have so many photos, I know I'm going to want to keep them small. So a lot of times I'll print them 3x4s. And these are just plain pieces of computer paper that I made my own little placeholders, but I won't use these as my photo mats since they are thinner. They're not cardstock. So I have some 3x4s and I have some 3x3s. And I'm thinking I could do the 3x3s kind of in a grid. So that would give me 8 photos right there. And then I have a couple 3x4s and I could put those maybe over here. And I don't want to hide too much of my wood grain. And I really like that knot right there. So I could bring those even further down to show off more of that paper. I'm wondering if I can fit even more if I kind of go like this. I don't know that I can fit those. And I think that might give me enough photos. I could have this one come over more and kind of fill in that space more, like right there. I do like that. And then I could have my title here, some embellishments up here. I think I like how that's looking. And I could have some maybe tags, or they even show a cluster over here with a little banner. So I could have a banner coming out this direction instead. I'm liking that. So now I know I can print 10 photos. 8 of them need to be able to crop down to squares, and 2 can be vertical. I could also go like this, but I don't think I have any horizontal photos. If I do, I can always rotate them or do one of each. Can you hear my Dane coming? Here she comes. What do you think? Do you like it? Oh, you sit so nice. You helping Mama? Yeah, you're helping Mama today? All right, let's print some pictures. I was wrong. I did have a couple horizontal photos that I could print. So I'm thinking those, something like that. And then I'll do my grid here. And I printed all of those 3x4s and then I trimmed them down to 3x3s. And I am going to mat them on some white cardstock. I have a few scraps here. I'd like to try matting them on first before I cut into a big 12x12 sheet. So I'm just going to start matting these. And that one's too small. Let's try another one. My photos aren't quite 3x3. My printer doesn't print exact sizes, so they're slightly smaller. So I'm actually cutting the white to exactly 3x3. And then I'll be able to mount these photos on there with a little bit of that white border. So many pictures of this little guy with all the animals. This photo is of a whole bunch of chickens up in the rafters of this barn. We were playing with the goats, and all these chickens just came flying up there and staring at us. It was almost eerie, like they were gonna attack us. You guys, this picture with the pig and the cow, that pig is so huge. I didn't know pigs got that big. The pig is bigger than the cow. Like, what? That's a lot of bacon. I'll get back to that pig later, but now I'm going to lay down my photos here, and I'm just kind of looking to see which angle everything's going. So here I'm looking up at the chickens, and then you can see the little guy walking towards the layout. So I just kind of want people facing the center of the layout as much as possible. I'm just going to move these ones around, and I'm liking that. I'm thinking maybe some mocha because I have mocha in here. This isn't called mocha, it's the Stampin' Up! Color, but it's very similar to that mocha. So I thought maybe mocha would be nice. Just a small border. I grabbed my mocha scraps, trying to use up those scraps as much as possible, and I'm just cutting these photo mats slightly larger than 3 inches. We'll go ahead and get all of these photos matted, and then I'm actually going to play around with my title. I got my title adhered down. I used an alphabet thin cut from my stash. This location was called Good Earth Farm, and I originally wanted it to say like Good Earth Farm over here, or maybe right in this area, but the pine was not showing up good on this pattern paper. So I decided to just stick with the light color, and I like how that turned out. And then I brought in my Forever Forest stamp set, and I may also include some Frosted Forest. Stamp that on white and die cut it. It does come with a coordinating die, so I'll die cut that out. And because this already has a built-in foam, I don't need to flip my Versamat over. I can do it right here on my surface. So I'm just going to set this aside. Get out my pine ink. And give that a moment to soak in. All right, that looks pretty good. So now we can run that through our die. And I like to just line this up. And then I just use a little bit of washi tape. And I will go run that through my die cutting machine. I got these trees die cut, so I'm thinking maybe one on each side. And then from this Frosted Forest, I stamped this tree in mocha. And then I die cut it out. It comes with a coordinating die cut. I used one of my tri-blend markers. I used the gold brown blend. I thought that would match this kind of toffee color. So colored the trunk in with that. And then you can still see the detail of that mocha. And then I cut out the leaves, which is a die cut in here. Okay, so I die cut the leaves then in pine. And you can layer these and do so many different things, techniques with this. But I'm thinking if I layer that on there, that brings in more of that pine color. I do have some other pine trees in the Forever Forest that I could die cut as well. So I could do, I need to rearrange this, but if I brought in some of this size, I could kind of layer that on top using pine paper to bring that over on this side. So I think I'm going to die cut a couple more, and I might just do, this one might be a little large. I don't know, it might coordinate well with this one though. So maybe I'll just do one of each size here and die cut those out of the pine paper. I'm grabbing my Spotlight on Nature. These are my trusty circle dies I've been using a lot of. So I'll have these linked below. But I'm going to grab one of these circles and my peach and maybe bring in a peach circle right up in this area just to draw in even more of that peach. I'm snipping this group of trees apart, and I think I just want the two underneath that tree. I did cut another one of those out with the leaves. I'm adding some foam dots to those little trees. Just going to give that a little dimension to pop up away from that other tree I have adhered there. So I have the rest of the tree cluster, and I'm just going to finish cutting around the edges of that so there's not a harsh line. And I think I'm going to tuck that right up here behind this photo and these other trees. Right about there. I'm bringing in some of those smaller trees I had cut from the pine paper and just trying to determine where I want those. I think I want some behind the stamps and then some in front of. I also like to tuck some of my embellishments behind the pictures and then others overlapping the photo a little bit. To adhere the embellishments, I am using a combination of my Barely Art liquid glue with that precision tip and some foam tape. So with these skinnier trees, I can just do one stream of glue down the center. I don't need to glue every single little branch down. We'll add some 3D foam to the back of this one, give that some dimension. One thing that the sketch mentions is small embellishments like dots, sequins, and add delicate details that enhance your layout. So, thought maybe that'd be fun to add some sequins or some dots or something, since I was going off of that sketch to begin with. So in my stash from close to my heart, I have these brown little hearts, and those actually match this wood grain pretty closely. So I have a little triangle there and a little triangle here. And I like that this kind of spills over, so it almost looks like I have a visual triangle, you know? It carries your eye across for sure. I like that I brought the pine up top. So here's that completed layout. I love how these trees came out. That's the nice thing with Stampin' Up! Stamps and thin cuts, is you can use them in so many different ways. They layer so differently. Like a lot of these had background pieces, so I could have kept those together, and I cut these ones apart, and it's just fun how different you can make Stampin' Up's stamps and thin cuts. Die cuts, I believe is what they call them. Here is our inspiration right down here. Honestly, I don't think it looks anything like it. We cut this red paper, my wood grain, to a different size. So I did 8 by 8. They did 8 by 6 1/4. And then that brought this down. Their zip strip is a 1/2 inch. Mine is maybe an 1/8. This is cut to the right size. They did embellishments up here, which mine was kind of down here, and then they also did a cluster over here. I added more photos. I don't know, does it look like it? I mean, it's definitely inspired from this. So the way it's linear, and I'd say this side looks a little closer with my grid, but then I mirrored that over here. My title is in somewhat of the general area. So yeah, I'll add my journaling probably right down here and get this one in the books. Thanks for watching, and until next time, live a life worth scrapping.